Hi, my name is Shawn. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek, and this is Avatar: The Last Podcasters. Sometimes I forget to say the name of the podcast. It's like a sense of entitlement. I know that we are so popular among our fans that they don't even need an introduction. That's a lie. We probably need one. So, Avatar: The Last Podcasters, thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about Book 3, Fire, Episode 13. That's like Episode 53 overall, so home stretch. It's called the Firebending Masters. But maybe more importantly, we have a very important debate planned for this episode that honestly might be more exciting. I'm just, you know what? It's hard for me to say that because I actually really love this episode. And I also have not let Chris say a single word so far since I've started recording. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Week's going fine. I've been this is my last week of quarantine, of being off the job. My family's been pretty blessed up to this point with everything that's going on in the world. We haven't been affected that much, but I've been able to take off the last 3 weeks with pay. So that's pretty cool. But this is the last week because I'm quitting my current job, and I told them I'm quitting, and they're like, "Well, we need you to come in next week." Even though I was planning to be off next week initially because of everything.
You gotta transfer things or clean things up.
I got stuff. I don't know, HR talks and stuff. So then I started another job. Start another job the week after that. So that pays me more money. So it's even more blessed. So that's cool. Beyond that, just been staying inside. Been teaching my daughter how to play dominoes.
Yeah, I saw that. Saw on Facebook she's getting a little cocky.
Yeah, getting a little cocky there. She only beat me one time, and I actually tried winning. But other than that, I kind of manipulate the game to where I'm like, when you're playing dominoes, you can kind of figure out what's in your opponent's hand after a while. And so I'll play a domino. I'm like, oh, she should be able to score once I play this, which is kind of fun in a way. It's kind of
like create teachable moments, kind of.
Yeah. So now I'm moving on, teaching her how to play Yu-Gi-Oh, which made me. I went through my old Yu-Gi-Oh cards, which does make me wish I kept playing, or at least want to get back into playing a little bit.
I wish I lived in Topeka just so we could keep playing Yu-Gi-Oh. But Chris, you got to play by the old rules. I don't know anything about Link monsters. I don't have any Link monsters, but it shook everything up. Like it shook the way that synchros and XYZs and everything come out is totally different now. So we would have to revert to a previous version.
I still have, I'm still running my stall deck, my Neutrogen deck, and also my UA. Not does not stand for Ultra Academy. My Hero Academia.
I actually heard UA first, and I was like, tie-in. No, just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. That's actually what I heard first because it's been long. It's been a long time since we played.
Yeah. Or Princess UA.
Yeah, that's what. Well, yeah, maybe we're hearing it backwards this whole time. I really miss playing. I hope we can play again someday, as I imagine that our decks have probably not changed since the last time we played, which is probably a good thing, right? Like, it's not like one of us out there hustling and the other one's staying static. But I will also, in a very basic way, I haven't gotten into Magic by any means, but I've learned to play Magic, and I think you will appreciate some of the, structural differences from Yu-Gi-Oh! Not saying I would try to convert you or anything, because I still kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Better nostalgically, not kind of, quite a bit. So I wouldn't try to convert you, but I think it's worth learning to play just to see how it operates. It's very solid, and they're both better than Pokemon.
Yeah, it's true. I tried to play Pokemon one time.
Pokemon's weird. I cannot handle that. It's weird.
But also, also this week, I was able to go out to Walgreens, and I was able to buy this Avatar Last Airbender action figure from Diamond, which may be going out of business soon. If you don't know Diamond, they are there's two big publishers for comic books, right? And there's weirdly only one distributor of comic books, and that is Diamond. And so they're struggling right now because with everything, comic books are stalled now. And not sure if they'll be able to come out of it. I don't know why there'll be a monopoly on distributing comic books.
That's weird.
But there is, and yeah. Anyway, they also make toys. and action figures, which I love their action figures because their action figures are like really, and their statues are really good because they're like really cheap, but they're still really detailed and they're made of plastic. But anyway, here's a Aang action figure of him in the Avatar state.
He looks pretty
Wait, wrong
pissed.
way. Yeah.
I dig that.
There we go.
Nice. It
Yeah,
looks
I think
a
I'm
lot
actually gonna
like.
take this one out the box. Yeah, he's blue and his arrow and eyes are glowing and his tattoos and everything. So I like it. I think I'll hang it up and maybe put him in like this cool like avatar position or something. Probably put him right in between where I have, if you look in here, where I have a whole. I'll probably put him in the middle between Aang and Korra there.
Centered in front of the big
anyway.
middle book there.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. I only have a
Anyways.
couple of toys from that, like the box and everything looks very similar, but mine are Harry Potter, of course.
Yeah, but that's essentially my week.
Chris, I had a really long week, so I'm going to try not to ramble, but it was a crazy week. First of all, you'll notice that my setup in my room is different. It's because there's 6 shelves over here, and I rearranged
Yeah.
every one of them to essentially to accommodate work from home, because I might be working at home for a while. So the work from home's right over there. But then I also needed just a big desk. I haven't had just a big, so this is just a really big table, desk, workshop, and all that stuff. So I rearranged my entire room, my whole setup. I kind of had to do some weird computer stuff and then back it up. And I was trying a new video editing software, and then I screwed up a bunch of directories, and so I had to use my backup. So good thing I backed it up. And then also, we just today, my wife bought Animal Crossing, and I have never played an Animal Crossing game, and I finally admitted, I was like, I'd like to, because everybody's crazy and everybody loves it, and I think I would love it, so I want to. So we bought that today, and I still have not gotten my turn to play Animal Crossing because my wife has played more Animal Crossing than she has played most video games ever. She's out there playing it right now. If she can hear me through the wall. Hey, Heather, you still playing? Maybe she can't hear me through the wall, or maybe she's really into it. But I will say
It's like
that
F you, Shawn, and not
yeah,
literally.
in there
I'm
talking.
kidding.
Well, I mean, now that she's getting all addicted to Animal Crossing and stuff, I don't know. No, I'm really jealous because she's in there playing, and I keep watching, and it does look really fun. I'm like, I want to turn. I'll play some Animal Crossing, but my time will come. And then also, last but not least, last week after I passed my test thing last week, and then ordered a whole bunch of stuff that I've been waiting to order because the retakes are really expensive. So it's been like a buildup of things like, no, you can't get this until you pass that test, and you don't have to pay for a retake. So I had this whole backlog of stuff, and then I ordered it all at once, and it all came at once. It was like Christmas. It was amazing. So I had a big week. Probably not interesting to most people, but interesting to me. And that's my week. Now I'm here with you, and I think unless you have any other tidbits that you want to talk about first, I'm ready to get into this debate.
No, I'm ready.
So I don't have a real assigned structure, but I figured that because you tend to be the more educated, not tend to, because you're the more literally educated in Avatar world of the two of us, that I want you to go first with your person, and then I'll go next with my person, and then you give the big closing consensus that is reached. I will put that on your shoulders. All right, ready to do this? This week's great debate.
Yes, I am.
Is Foaming Mouth Guy versus Cabbage Guy, aka formerly known as Cabbage Merchant, according to the Avatar Wiki, which I did have to consult.
First of all, let me say that you're biased because you only showed a picture of the Cabbage Guy. Wow.
I'm a keyboard tyrant. I'm a computer tyrant. I run the keyboard. I'm a tyrant. No, actually, I just really liked this picture, and it is part of my argument, so that is absolute bias, but I needed this picture.
Okay. So this debate is, I don't know if it's whether who's the better character is or which character is more underappreciated.
No rules, just gotta trash the other characters.
No rules, just perfect, good. Without a doubt, Foamy Mouth Guy is way better. Maybe not. Okay, that's a stretch. Is better than the Cabbage Guy, and he does not get the credit he deserves. So Foamy Mouth Guy is amazing for a few reasons. One thing, physical comedy. Physical comedy is it's a jewel. It's It's one of the best things. I mean, just think about all the most physical comedians out there, like Will Ferrell, Jack Black, things like that. People like that. That stuff is hilarious. They don't have to say a single word, but they can be absolutely funny. Foamy Mouth Guy is like that. We first meet him in the Warriors of Kyoshi episode where Aang, where they capture Aang and them, and he says like, "I'm the Avatar," and he proves it by airbending, and they all go crazy. Everyone on Kyoshi Island, and Aang does the whole marble trick. And Foamy Mouth Guy loses it. He loses his and I don't like to curse. So anyway, um,
Really, you made a joke about me doing my life, and now you don't like to curse.
yeah.
That's why I draw the line.
And the thing is, the animation there is beautiful, right? He's because that's all animation doing that communication, all right? Communicating to the audience. He looks at one guy, looks at the other guy. He's like, "Can you believe this?" That's what you're getting at. He's just fawning at the Avatar. He's so overwhelmed by the awesomeness that is Aang and seeing him that he starts foam comes out of his mouth, and after all of that, it's almost like he just blew his wad and just had to faint afterwards. Like it was just that.
Chris, I label these.
Okay,
I label these episodes as non-explicit. Man, we're gonna have to go back and relabel the whole show, retarget the audience.
And also, Flying Mouth Guy is a true testament to the greatness that is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Which I'm not even lying on this because it is. If you watch my video on the most underrated characters, Flying Mouth Guy is on there. The reason why I say he is underrated and also a true testament to the greatness is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Brian and Mike, the creators of Avatar, wanted to do something different with Avatar, and Foamy Mouth Guy was that different thing, or he's an example of that different thing. The thing they wanted to do different is that in their time in working in animation, like working on King of the Hill, or working on like Invader Zim, working on, I believe they worked on Family Guy a couple times between the two of them. The way they were usually over animation and directing it, the way they worked with the teams overseas is that they just send the team overseas like direction. But then like they would go back to their bosses at those properties and be like, hey, maybe we should talk to those animators overseas and see what they want to do, see how they can add a little bit more to these scenes, add more to the directions that we gave them. And they're like, no, we want it done like this. Like those guys, they're not there to be creative. They're there just to do what we say. And they're like, when we do our own thing, we're going to do it differently. And that's what they did with Avatar. And one of those examples is Foaming Mouth Guy. The direction sent over to overseas animators was just, he sees the Avatar, he faints. That was it. He sees the Avatar, he faints. But it took it a next step further, like, no, he's not just going to faint, he's going to go crazy, he's going to foam his mouth, and then he's going to faint. Great stuff there. Just awesome stuff. Also, I want to mention the second time we see Foaming Mouth Guy, because we only see him twice. We see him in that episode, and then we see him again in the what is the episode called? I should know it.
I completely forget.
It's when they go back to. It's when Kyoshi says she killed Chin the Conqueror. Why can't I think of the episode name? Oh my gosh! Avatar Day. Avatar Day.
Okay, I just keep thinking of Sokka in his detective outfit, and that's all I can think of.
Yes. So Sokka and Katara get on Appa, and they go to Kyoshi Island to prove Kyoshi's innocence. And when they get there, everyone thinks the Avatar's there. So Foaming Mouth Guy comes out. He's going crazy. He's foaming, and he faints again. And then they're like, "Wait, where's Aang?" They're like, "Oh, he's not here." And Foaming Mouth Guy gets up, like he's like ashamed, and he like he wipes the drool from his mouth and puts his hood on and just walks away.
I think we can agree. I know it can't exist without the first part, but I think we can agree that of his two appearances, that one is really impactful and telling of his character. I know it couldn't exist without the first appearance, but
yeah, I like the second one better. But so those are all reasons, without a doubt, that Foamy Mouth Guy is the better character. He offers so much more to the Avatar universe than the Cabbage Guy.
That's a big argument. Well, let me tell you about the Cabbage Guy. who, look at this right over here. There's no gimmicks here. That all these things that you just talked about, Foamy Mouth Guy, even comparison to like Jack Black, Will Ferrell, you're talking about like one trick ponies. They do one thing and they do it well, and he brings it, and that's great. But this guy over here, he is like the metaphor of the American dream, all wrapped up in a single character. He is a metaphor of the injustices of wartime. He just in kind of a lighthearted approach. In the way that he is treated and his various circumstances lead him awry, and he does it all.
Innocent bystander. Okay.
He went green before it was cool. He was promoting veggies and healthy things before it was cool. He has way more appearances. He has way more impact on the story. He still brings that comedy. Not the same style of comedy, but it's a real comedy. It's not. It still kind of is a physical comedy. But it's like a Schadenfreude comedy where, what's that? Laughing at others' misfortune, but only because you can relate to the pain that that person feels, and you're glad that it's not you because you can empathize. So it's a deeper, more powerful kind of comedy. This man, your Foamy Mouth Guy, could just have rabies. Probably doesn't, but he could just have rabies. This man over here, what he brings to the show into the story is true love and commitment for a disgusting vegetable that I admittedly despise. I even thought about it the other day. I was like, I hate almost all cabbages, except for I don't mind like a little red cabbage in my salad, but he never sells red cabbages, so I would definitely suggest that to him. He's probably not underappreciated. He gets the statue. He gets multiple appearances. He even appears in the comic books, right? I don't have this firsthand. It's just you've told me before. Yes. So it's not that he is underappreciated in any regard, but he's just a far better character who has an engaging story that you want to know what Cabbage Guy is up to next. You want to know what his journey is like. I don't care what Foamy Mouth Guy. I know where he's at. He's just hanging at home, watching out the window, hoping, and that's his whole life. Just looking wistfully up the road, waiting for another chance to foam at the mouth. That's his whole life. Not my Cabbage Guy right over here. My Cabbage Guy, he's a real character with a real story that we really connect with as people, as Americans. And, I've never really, lived through actual wartime, but I have lived in an age of quarantine. But he also does suffer injustice in his character, even if that injustice is not being underappreciated. So I think that Foamy Mouth Guy might be more underappreciated. I can give you that, but I don't think he's a better character. I think this guy right here is a better character.
Now, there's a certain thing in comedy where the joke runs its course. And I think with Cabbage Guy, the joke ran its course probably the third time. And after that, it was just, all right, well, there's just the Cabbage Guy. Where Foamy Mouth Guy, they knew exactly the right amount that they needed.
No, look past the jokes.
Just 2 times.
Cabbage Guy is more than just jokes, Chris. Cabbage Guy's a real person.
All right, you want to talk about his life? Okay, he gave up cabbage. He gave up in the comics. He gave up cabbages, and then he saw a forklift and said, "Oh, a forklift! I want to get into that business." He gave up cabbages. What type of man gives up on his lifelong dreams?
A man who's trying to feed his family, Chris.
Secondly, I really disregard. He tried to kill the Avatar. In Omashu, he said, I want one for each head of cabbage. Cut off their heads, one for each head of cabbage lost. What type of man? Listen, Foamy Mouth Guy's never done anything wrong.
But in the comic books,
look.
Hey, no. In the comic books, he makes good with them. He's serving them food or something. Like the only image I've ever seen.
If I was selling, I don't know, chocolate chimichangas on the street, because I love chocolate chimichangas.
It's probably the best kind of chimichanga.
And you knocked over 2 of them, I'd be like, listen, I'm going to kill you and your wife.
You mess up one more time, I'm going to kill your dog.
Like, listen, 2 for 2, that's even right there. That man has issues. That man
You
It's
might
not
have
stable.
issues, but isn't that way more interesting? Like, don't you want to hear that guy's life story? Like, whoa, what made that guy escalate this so quickly? Like, what drives this guy's weird inner evil over a pair of chocolate
Also,
chimichangas?
also, Cabbage Guy. So he went into forklift. He formed Cabbage Corp, right? He has his own statue, Legend Corp, whatever. But Cabbage Corp is known to having terrible, terrible products, right? There was an episode of Asami, uh, the Earth Queen captured Asami and Korra, and they had to break out of the ship. And Asami was able to just break the bars off. She said, "Man, this really is Cabbage Corp, cheap material. What type of man is leaving a legacy of cheap materials? This guy is cutting corners. He wants to kill people for no reason. This man is a terrible individual, and they've shown nothing to support it, to support his level and his history of tyranny." And like we don't
Yeah.
know his backstory, but
You
this
know
guy's
what?
a terrible person,
At
terrible
least
character.
my evil character left his mother's basement and tried to start a life for himself.
You know, Flaming Mouth Guy probably does live with his mom, but he probably really cares about her. She's probably old, living on Kyoshi Island. She got no one else to watch after him. He's like, Kyoshi, where's all fighting? I gotta stay here. I gotta watch after mom, right? Dad probably left when he was younger. Probably. You know, he wants a little, he wants some hope in his life.
The only hope he has.
He sees the Avatar. You know, he goes wild. That's the Avatar. That's the hope, right? When hope.
People
Hope
think
is
Chris
important,
doesn't
Shawn.
like fan
Hope,
fiction. Here, he just wrote a whole story in about 5 minutes.
hope is key. This whole series, you could say it's all about hope. You have two characters who addresses the notion of hope quite differently.
Okay, but
Cabbage Guy doesn't.
we
Cabbage Guy
learn way
doesn't give.
more from the Cabbage Guy. We learn more from his mistakes than we learn from Mom's basement dweller. That's for sure. We,
Okay, so the
has a
one
greater
character in the
sentimental
show
impact on me.
who's the one character in the show that exemplifies. It's really the meaning of hope, like you know a Messiah-like character.
Are you trying to tell me it's not Cabbage Guy?
No, it's it's the no, it's Aang. Both of these two characters react to Aang two drastically different ways. Foaming Mouth Guy's like, holy crap, the Messiah has come. We are saved. He is risen. Right? And
That's a good Easter
Cabbage
reference.
Guy,
It's a solid Easter reference right there.
thank you. Didn't know this would be an Easter episode.
It wasn't, but hey, happy early Easter, or happy Easter if you listen to it on Easter, I suppose. That'd be so appropriate. You know what? I'm not gonna let you out the hook by saying that Cabbage Guy hates his kids. Cabbage Guy is allowed to have one bad day, just as a Joker, and then bad example.
He's had several. Yeah.
But then I maintain that if you're gonna reference the comics, you got to pull up the fact that eventually he serves those kids food and they get along fine. He is over his murderous one for one. That's kind of biblical too, eye for an eye. It's very,
All right. Okay. So if we're gonna say
episode.
he went on this, if we're gonna say he went on this 180 character arc, right? Of trying to kill these kids for damaging heads of lettuce. He wants to kill them. One for each head of lettuce, meaning he wants to kill more than them. Anyway, that's not important. He wants to kill other innocent bystanders who weren't even around.
Chris, how many jobs did Foamy Mouth Guy bring to Republic City? Huh? What's he doing for the economy?
You know what? We don't know. Good valid point. Whatever.
He's probably living off welfare. He's probably faking an injury. He's like, I got this disease where I just foam at the mouth all the time and I can't work. And he's probably just living off Republic City government checks.
I mean, he's probably still in Kyoshi Island, but he probably never left the island.
And I'm telling you, he's living off the government.
He's like Moana, but without the bravery.
That is a terrible character you just described. His mom's probably dead. He's just faking that she's alive so he can keep living off her social security check. That's right. Two can play fan fiction.
Oh, I forgot what was. Oh,
I don't think we're on a point anymore. I think it's escalated beyond
Foaming Mouth Guy believes in hope, believes in Aang, so much so that he falls to his feet. He would be a disciple of Aang if he
Look
was
at his
brave enough
face.
to
You
leave the
can't tell me
island.
this guy doesn't have hope in his heart.
Oh,
Look at his face.
okay, I remember my point now. Okay, so good characters like Zuko, like Korra, right?
Like
They,
Korra, sure.
There's other good characters. Good character developments, right? They start at one point and they gradually move to another point. They do a 180. But so if we're gonna say the Cabbage guy goes from being this murderous guy to loving the kids, where was that in between there? There has to be an in between there, Shawn. There's no in between there.
That's
One
the
day he's
part
just
that
like,
makes us
oh,
curious.
okay.
That's what makes us want to follow Cabbage Guy instead of Foamy Mouth Guy. That's the part we want to dig up and figure out. It's what makes him more interesting as a character. And let's flip it on its head. Let's say originally he started as a good guy, just a harmless cabbage merchant trying to do his thing, huh? And his 180 was the other way around. He's interesting in a backwards way. He's the anti-Zuko. He goes from being a wholesome cabbage merchant to a murderous conglomerate. That's interesting.
Oh,
I'd read
gosh.
it. I'd watch it. Joaquin Phoenix could play him in the live action movie. It'll be great.
Oh gosh, he could. Wait, but you don't like the Joker though. You said that movie was too. Yeah, you said that movie was smarter than I thought it was.
Yeah, I did. I didn't really care for it, and I probably won't ever watch it again. It's one of those that I would not say is a bad movie. I see why it is a good movie, and I see why people enjoy it and think highly of it. But I will probably never watch it again. It felt like it was trying real hard to be Cabbage Guy, not trying real hard to be edgy. Okay, he's just doing his thing and gets caught up in circumstances that turn him evil, kind of like the Joker. Damn it! Never mind. Forget that last one. Forget that part.
To wrap up my point here, the foamy mouth guy is an unsung hero. He is.
He's done so many heroic things, like leave the house twice.
He is a testament to the greatness of this show. He's a testament to the hope that Aang brings to the world. Today, think about Foamy Mouth Guy and his impact, not just on the Avatar universe, but on really all animation. Really, those things changed everything. And he is the everyman's man who's just looking for hope in the world. The foamy mouth guy is more than just foam in his mouth, more than just fainting by the side. He is the full embodiment of us. He is us.
You just described a guy who appears twice in 3 seasons and countless comic books. You just described him as the overarching representation of all of us in media. I appreciate your candor. Your candor.
To be honest, I stretch some of my points there, but some of them were very valid. Those first points were more of my most valid points, and then I started going off.
Sure. Well, that's fair. I think, yeah, if we hit it down to valid points, I think the best point you made is probably knowing when to quit. I'll give Foamy Mouth Guy that. But I see progression in Cabbage Guy as well. Like it recurs, but it does grow, and at the end it drives him over the edge. And in the TV show, that's kind of all we get. But like he still has progression, so I'm just gonna hand it over on actual points.
Yeah, so anyone watching or listening to this, let us know who you think is the better character, Foamy Mouth Guy or Cabbage
No
Guy.
logical outline. You just got to tell us who's better, definitively.
Or tell us who you think did a better job saying their point. It doesn't matter. Why?
No, it does matter. Loser has to... Well, I don't know. I'll think of it later.
Okay.
That was great, though. That was spirited, and I enjoyed it. But with that, I should point out that the only bad part is that there is basically no relationship between this debate and the episode that we're going to talk about. But I've got some connections, some loose connections forming in my mind based on the Easter comments earlier. I think we can take some Easter vibes or some feelings of Easter and apply it to this episode here. So we'll pretend that there's a connection in there. And that episode is the Firebending Masters. Well, I won't ruin it, but there's dragons. I've been waiting so long for this one because there's dragons finally. Chris, would you care to walk us through the Firebending Masters?
Yes. So Zuko is with Team Avatar, which I really enjoy this early Zuko with Team Avatar because it's so awkward. I just enjoy it a lot. Zuko is trying to teach Aang firebending, but he can't at all. And I really love his interaction with Aang here because Zuko's trying to firebend and he does one. He's like, "That was nothing," and Aang is like, "Huh, felt hot. You know what it's supposed to look like." Oh, sorry, Sifu Hotman. Stop calling me that.
What's the joke that Zuko makes like right at the very beginning too? I can't. No, that's. I'm sorry. No, that's the Boiling Rock, isn't it? That's a different one. My bad. Yeah, we'll get to it next episode.
So Zuko tells him, he tells Team Avatar, hey, he can't bend anymore, and Katara is like mean in this episode. Although some people, I feel like kind of hate on Katara in these early episodes when Zuko joined the team because she is very antagonistic towards Zuko, but I completely understand them all. Like Katara was the first one to trust Zuko, and he betrayed her. Ba Sing Se went down because of him and his actions. But here, her reaction to him saying like, "I lost my stuff," and then she's just like, "Maybe you weren't that good to begin with." It's just, and then Toph chimes in like, "Ouch."
Katara.
Yeah, and so Toph pretty much comes up with the idea that they should go find out, go train with where they originally learned firebending. That was from the dragons, and this does not contradict things in lore and Legend of Korra. Like a lot of people think that in Avatar: Last Airbender, the lore says that people learn bending from the sky bison, from the dragons, from the moon, and from badger moles. Well, and Legend of Korra says, well, people got bending from the lion turtles. Both are one and the same, right? So the lion turtles gave bending to humans, and humans learned how to actually utilize bending and be kind of one with the element from those people, from those
like the turtle
animals,
the
or from the spirits.
The
yeah, the way I
like to think about it is that
the way I like to think about it is that, like, say your mother buys you a paint set, so like the lion turtle gives you bending, but then you have an art teacher who teaches you how to paint.
You watch Bob Ross, who is the moon, and you learn to water paint.
Exactly. Our ancestors watched Bob Ross as he brushed and pulled the and they learned how to paintbrush.
I think it's a very good analogy. It's like a hardware versus a software kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to point out though that Zuko doesn't. I don't know that Zuko knows necessarily, or at least he's not letting on about the dragons yet. He just mentions the sun.
Yes.
The Sun Warriors, like he knows they were, or thinks or claims they were the original Firebenders, was the Sun Warriors.
Yeah. He thinks all the dragons are dead. He figures like, well, if we go there, there's ancient ruins and stuff like that. Maybe we can learn something from just being there. Maybe there's like statues or paintings or just hieroglyphics of things you can maybe learn the origin of firebending and get his firebending back. So Zuko and Aang go on a nice field trip. Do they go on Appa? Yeah, they do go on Appa. Mm-hmm. Of course they go on Appa. Yeah, and yeah, for good interaction. Like Zuko's really crummy in the morning, and Aang is so upbeat and chipper. It's so fun to see the difference between these two characters. It's really interesting to see Aang in these episodes because Aang, he just seems different. I think it's just the dynamic between him and Zuko that he comes off like way more cheery and happy than he usually does, but it's not as annoying as it usually is because it just meshes really well with Zuko's. It's just his
just
aggressive, angry nature. Yeah.
Well, even here, it's not like he's straight up angry. He just, is like curmudgeon or just kind of a grumpy.
Yeah.
Like he's mad at anything in particular. He's just generally being a moody teenager.
Yep. Yeah. So they go there and they go to this place which looks like Aztec, ancient Aztec things. That like it clearly took inspiration from Aztecs and Mayan civilizations, which you can easily see that, which I find really interesting. It adds another layer to the Avatar universe. That like sometimes people forget that the Avatar universe is more than just like Eastern Asian characters. Like they're inspired, or they're first of all they're inspired by Native American or Inuit or Eskimoan cultures, and then it branched into Eastern Asian, and then I think even more all of like Asia got influenced in there, and then you also have some Middle Eastern influence in there, and in the Avatar universe, and now you add in South American influence in there, and so adding in all these things I think just makes the world of Avatar feel larger than it really is.
And Cabbage Guy and Foamy Mouth Guys, those are the Americans.
Yeah. Maybe Cabbage Guy is one.
The American dream, more like.
Yeah. And then so they get there and there's like a bunch of traps and stuff, and they do dances, and just from that point on, it's just really good, entertaining Aang and Zuko dialogue interactions going back and forth until they do the dragon dance.
Zuko to do the dance with him originally.
Yeah.
I wish he would just come out and say it though. He's something like, Zuko, dance with me. Like, don't say that. Say, Zuko, I think if we do this dance, something might happen. And then he'll probably just be like, okay. Not like...
No, I love the Zuko dance with me. It's so funny to me.
Cryptic communication. Come on, Aang, you could do better than
that. But so they do the dragon dance, which I'm familiar with that dance from Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Z is called the fusion dance. And if these two characters do the dance and they touch arms at the end there, then they fuse into one character. So I don't know where this must be some very popular form or something, because I've seen it.
I feel dumb. I hadn't made that connection at all. I mean, I don't watch a ton of Dragon Ball Z, so I guess I don't feel too bad, but that's awesome. I hadn't made that connection. It's amazing.
Well, it might be slightly different. It's slightly different.
But like there's like a shared inspiration, surely.
Yeah, there must be. So then they are able to enter this egg, golden egg comes up, and Aang, of course, he's not of course, but he's weary of it because he's like, I don't trust shiny things on pedestals. It's for some reason
it just kid.
Yeah, it just like harkens back to like what are those movies? I can't think of those movies. Yes, Indiana Jones. So, and then they get trapped. And I do enjoy when they get trapped because because like Aang says, Sokka says like, not Sokka, sorry, Zuko says like, well now what do we do? Or no, maybe Aang says now what are we gonna do? And he says like, I don't know, think about a place in the universe. One of them says that. I forget which one it is, but great stuff.
I do like the interactions. You know what, Zuko in this episode and the next couple. Great interactions with Zuko and other individual characters that I don't know if it reveals more about his character, but you definitely just start to feel better and better about him being along for the ride over the next few. It's good Zuko stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And there was that one moment where Zuko was able to get into the temple, even though it needed to be a winter solstice or a summer solstice. And then he just tricks the dial, and Aang says, Zuko, I don't care what anyone says about you. You're smart. And Zuko's reaction at first is like, thanks, Aang. And then it's like, wait a minute. What do people say about me? But, so, yeah, a lot of great stuff there. And then they run into the Sun Warriors. Sun Warriors save them, and they're pretty much like, "Hey, you gotta go meet the Masters, Ren and Shaw, and they'll deem you if you're worthy or not." Because like the last word to see the Masters was Iroh, um, which that's always interesting. Getting Iroh, we've said before in the past episode that he's his presence has been felt in these episodes, even though he's not around. He's not in any single frame or anything like that. But his presence is definitely in this episode as well.
And I love the reveal point here about that glimpse into Iroh's past about lying about killing the dragon, the last dragon, to essentially to preserve the last two dragons. It's making his presence felt, learning more about him, and yeah, he hasn't spoken a word in I don't know a couple episodes now.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they have to go take this fire up to. Did they say this was the first fire? Yeah. They take this little bit of fire. They have to go this little bit of fire from first fire that the dragons give them, which that's some great lore dropping right there. To me, that just sounds like who was it they gave the fire and gave men fire in whatever mythology that was? I forgot what it is.
I suppose it's Greek, but Greek or Norse are the only two I know anything about. So I suppose one of those. I don't even think it's the first fire from the dragon. He just calls it the first fire. Like this is the first time we ever cooked anything. Was right in this oven right here. That's it.
Isn't there some science done that once men started cooking things, like it changed, like cooked meat changed us? Like
I imagine so.
It changed things on a not molecular level, but on some type of brain body level.
Spiked brain functions or something because the meat wasn't rotten and raw and
yeah, people didn't die as much.
That's what happened is people lived past 20 and then they got smarter and then it changed it. No, I don't know anything about anthropology, but I would imagine that the first person to cook like a steak on a fire was like, "Oh, you guys gotta see this!" Run into all this, but the first barbecue was had.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. They say that Aang and Zuko must present their fire to the masters, Ren and Shaw, and the masters would deem them worthy or not. And Zuko, and they were like, "Well, Zuko, they might not deem you worthy because you and your forefathers have pretty much vanquished all the dragons. You're responsible for it." And I love how Aang is like, "I don't usually do this, but I'm the Avatar."
He does it all the time. Also, keep in mind, I don't think that we know at this point. I don't think we know that Ren and Shaw are dragons yet. I think they just keep referencing them like, "We're going to take you to the Masters." Like this could just be these really old bastards or something. No idea.
Yeah, and they say that, well, Aang, you disappeared, so you are partly responsible for the way the world is. So that's really cool. Like two people who really, through either their inactions or heritage or anything, like they have a responsibility or they hold some type of, they hold some type of responsibility
an indirect
for
but powerful responsibility for it or accountable for it. I guess indirect, but very important or key.
Yeah. I do like when Aang gets his fire. He's like, "Oh, it's like a little heartbeat." Like he's like, "That's what fire is. Like fire is life." It's just really interesting how, and this is the whole concept of the episode is just how one really good thing can be just mutated and perverted into something else. Right? Like the Fire Nation has been using fire the wrong way. They've gone away from the real purpose of it, the real meaning of it so far, because they only use it for anger and aggression and for passion. But really, fire is life. Like it keeps things warm. It cooks things. It's just as much as life as is any other element.
I really like, so after this they're trekking up this mountain, not sure what they're gonna find. And then I also like kind of building on that even after that like very inspiring speech, and you feel like Aang and Zuko should be able to do it, but then Aang's little bitty dinky fire Zuko warns him that it's about to go out, like even after the big speech, Aang still needs the inspiration and the confidence from Zuko to be like, hey, like you're the Avatar, you can give it a little more oomph, and you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I feel like it seems age appropriate for Aang. Like, hey, he is the Avatar, but he's also still a kid, and he's also still scared of what he's holding on to there. So,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So then they take their fire up to Ren and Shaw, and although Aang's fire goes out because he's scared to hear things from the cave, and then he tries to get Zuko's. It was such a funny interaction. Like Zuko's like, "Stop cheating off of me!" Like it's like a test. You're in grade school.
Because they will be, I forget what the word is, but they'll be destroyed on the spot if they're not worthy or whatever, which the Sun Warriors kindly remind them.
Yeah. Also, as they present their fire to the dragons, I just want to mention that the music here is really, really good. It's just like it's almost the first time that they use or they incorporate the
beat from the end of the shows.
Yeah. Yeah. But here, I think they add a couple more drums and stuff like that, but it's really good.
It is. I love it. And I love this part because there are two things that I love a lot in life. Traps. That's actually a big one for me. And dragons. And we finally get to see the dragons. And then Zuko, it kind of hits home when you see these dragons about Zuko earlier talking about all the dragons being killed off for sport by firebenders, and I can't wrap my mind around, like, what the hell is wrong with you people? You see these things? Why would you kill them? Recruit them. Yeah. That'd be like waterbenders killing fish, like killing whales for sport. Or I can't even think of a comparable thing because there's no dragons in the ocean.
Why would you kill the one thing that can give you an advantage over everyone else, and you have a monopoly over, apparently?
And you're on the same team already. Just be nice to them, for God's sake.
Yeah. Or at least breathe. No, I mean, don't do any. Don't kill them.
Right, just let them be. Maybe keep them as neutral. Why would you kill it? I don't understand. It's outrage. But this is probably a time to admit that dragons are probably my favorite animal, and I know that they are not real, but I believe in my childish heart that they are real. I don't actually believe they're real. I just want them to be really hard. I wish like Foamy Mouth Guy wishes and hopes.
Exactly. I remember when I was little, I found out about Komodo dragons. I was like, oh, Komodo dragons. I mean, they're just called dragons, but still love them. I did a report on them in like 3rd grade just because they have dragon in the name.
Almost the exact same thing, and then my teacher and I'm doing the research. Pretty proud of my research, but really understanding that they're just a big, smelly lizard with like all sorts of nasty bacteria in their mouth. So if they bite you, you die, but not in a cool way, just because their mouths are real gross. And then I was like, "This is actually the most disappointing of the dragons."
Yeah. Yeah, so the dragons come out, which one thing I love the landscape here. Like it's like the two pillars and the way the camera like pans out of it. It's really beautiful. And I think that helps later on when the dragons come out and you see just how massive they are. So the dragons come out, they just, whirl around, they scare Aang and Zuko. And eventually Aang is like, I think we gotta dance. Which is like, hey, you got nothing else better to do, you might as well try it.
Zuko, at least he presents some logic this time. He's like, what else are we supposed to do? And all right, that's fair.
Like I feel like in order to be deemed by the dragons, you have to 1, learn the dance, and then 2, be worthy. It's like, if you're worthy and you didn't learn the dance, no good, no bueno. You didn't.
That would really piss me off because I hate dancing. So I would not. Sorry, I hate. That sounds very strong. I don't personally like to dance. I like it when other people dance. Be happy. That's great. But it would really make me mad. They would be like, "You're worthy. All you gotta do is the dance." I'd be like, "No." They're like, "Oh, did you forget it? Because you can go study it again if you want." No, I know it. No. Mm-mm. I'd rather just not firebend.
Just kill me now.
Can we make this quick, please? I don't.
Yeah. So they face them, they confront them, and they shoot up glorious rainbow of fire, which is beautifully done.
It's amazing.
And then like I do love Zuko's reaction most because Zuko is like, I finally understand. Like to me, I just love that because Zuko his whole important part of his life has just been about anger and aggression, and like he was firebending completely the wrong way. Now he's kind of awakened into a new firebending.
Are you playing Smash Bros in the background?
No, what do you see my controller on me
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
No, I'm playing the episode in the background.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Yeah, it's just.
I'm really glad
nice
you brought that
cue.
up because I keep thinking that it would be funny to like have the episodes in the back of our podcast, but to not get flagged by instead of streaming it, just literally recording like just set the camera over here so it can see my TV here, and just like letting it record all of me in the video all together. But that's probably really stupid. But I've always kind of thought about it. Yeah, so they get surrounded by the glorious flame, and then all the Sun Warriors. There's a couple of them that like clearly lost the bet on whether or not they're gonna make it out or not.
Yeah.
The one, I don't know, the lieutenant, second command looking guy.
He looks
he
like
just
the
lost a
second in
bet.
command for
Yeah.
some reason. I don't know why I get that.
It's maybe it's
that
just a sense of entitlement, but
He's the only one that talked.
that's also true. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and then they learn the dragon dance, and they do reveal because Zuko's like, I thought Iroh killed the last dragon. He's like, your uncle did face the dragon. He was deemed worthy, and he protected their secrets, and that made Zuko feel even more pride in Uncle Iroh, because beforehand, Aang was saying that like, oh, pretty much everybody in your family's evil type of deal, because he learned that they killed the dragons, and then Zuko's like, well, no, not everybody, and. Oh wait, maybe this is next episode.
No, that's this.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Okay. And he's like,
Wait a minute.
And Aang's
Actually, the dialogue you're taking is from the next episode, where he says, "I was going to say my uncle." That actually is from the next episode. But what you're referring to here, Aang mentioned something about, I thought your uncle was a good guy, and Zuko said he has a complicated past because they still at that point thought he killed the dragon. Sorry, I jumped the gun earlier when I brought that up. I didn't mean to do that.
No, you correct. Okay, good. So it goes back and it re-solidifies Zuko's pride in Uncle Iroh.
And then after that, they pretty much. I don't know if we see a whole lot of trek back. They're pretty much back at camp, back in the Western Air Temple, showing off the
and Aang quickly shows that he can firebend now, and he loves it. Like his firebending looks different. Like there's not the whole array of colors from the dragons, but you can see that there's different colors, slightly different variations of colors in there.
The animation makes you feel like Aang's sense of control over it versus just sort of wildly pushing it out.
Yeah, I kind of would I like if Aang and Zuko were able to bend more rainbow colors. Although Zuko does bend rainbow colors at one point in the comics, it's actually a pretty cool look at it because it's firebenders are like trying to uprise against Zuko because they don't like him and stuff, and they all firebend at him. And he says this pretty cool line of like, "You will feel the wrath of your Fire Lord," and they all firebend at him, but he like swoops it all up and he like turns it and firebends into like this column above himself, and it's like a rainbow-ish type of deal. So I guess he was able to kind of do it every now and then. That'd be kind of a really cool power-up. Like Avatar doesn't have that many power-ups. Like you think about anime, like each character gets like a certain special move or certain power-up that they do. That would, in my head, that would be, oh, came up with a special move for Zuko, perhaps. Not sure. For our Smash Bros.
Oh, solid. I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah, one day we'll do it.
I've been watching Full Metal Alchemist, so I just keep thinking of all the individual characters. Not really power-ups so much as like their alchemy styles, their alchemy specialties.
Okay, so side note. So you're not... The reason why I asked before, so you're watching Full Metal Alchemist, but you're not watching Brotherhood. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, right?
Because I'm
Okay.
gonna do what I'm supposed to do and start with the original one.
Well, it's not technically the original one, right? So Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, they're like the same kind of story, but there's some variations to them. The first one was the first manga adaptation, and it doesn't follow the manga all the way through. It's not completely accurate. And then they redid it, and they made Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and it follows the manga like 99, maybe 100%.
But
And so,
the lady who wrote the who created it all though still had sign off and creative say. So I know it diverges, but it was still her involvement
yeah,
and her work to a good extent. So I was like, I'm
I
still gonna
hear
watch the original first, absolutely.
they're both good, but I feel like people mostly put Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood on a much higher pedestal. I watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It is really good. I haven't watched the other one yet because I was just like, no, I'm not gonna do it because I already
Um,
watched the other one.
no, I haven't watched obviously Brotherhood yet, and I'm only like halfway through the first season of Full Metal Alchemist. But in like some other guys' podcasts that I listened to, which is kind of what put me onto the idea, is I liked how they described it. But they did note like similar things, and they actually suggested they're like start with Brotherhood, and then if you like it, you go watch the original. I was like, no, that's not how
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
do. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch the
Uh,
original. But it's from what they said, it sounded like she still had sort of full creative input. They were just ready to put out the show, kind of like they compared it like Game of Thrones. Like the show was ready ahead of the manga, but she was still able to say, "All right,
yeah.
well, let's wrap it up this
Oh,
way."
okay.
So
Okay. Well, you know
it's
more
still
than I did.
hopefully it still feels like her work. I don't know any of that. I just heard it on a podcast like 2 weeks ago, and it was a really well done podcast, and I dug it.
Yeah.
I have no idea where
But
we're at
yeah,
in the episode. We might be done. I
no,
don't know.
we were just talking about the different colors in Zuko's
Oh
Firebending.
yeah,
So
yeah,
then
yeah. That's right.
I did find a passage from you won't be able to see that. Never mind. Yeah, you can't see that. Mhm.
Yeah, kind of. There you go. Right there. Right there.
Oh, right there. Okay, so
Nice. Yeah,
that's
he's got some
Zuko
other colors going
Firebending.
on in there.
Yeah, I got some colors in there. Got some green in there. That's pretty different.
Green,
Um,
little pinks and
yeah,
roses, kind of.
green, purples.
Yeah.
No blues though.
No blue. You
Which,
don't need. That's lightning
yeah,
fire. That's different.
yeah, that's different. Cold-blooded fire. Although, yeah. Mhm. So yeah, so that's pretty much the episode.
With that, let's get to some ratings. Starting with yours.
All right, so audiovisual gave it 8.5 out of 10. I really think the music was really good, and the moment that stands out for me is the going up to that big hill with the two pillars, and how the camera pans, and how the dragons are whirling all around it. That is really good. Story gets an 8. Yes, 8. I think there's a lot of good stuff here with Zuko and a little bit more backstory for Iroh. So that one gets 8. On to memorable. It also gets an 8. There's just some really good stuff here. I love Zuko with early Team Avatar type of stuff. So 8.2 out of 10.
Another for like 3 weeks in a row. Really, really close on these. I gave this one a 9 on audiovisual for all the things he said, plus a biased love for dragons and traps, and also the Indiana Jones movies. Story 8.5. Tells a good story, but the story itself kind of overpowered by just sort of the other action, exciting elements and things going on, but still a great story. And then memorable 8.5. I probably couldn't tell, like if you had asked me before I'd rewatched it, I probably couldn't have told you a lot about it. I'd just be like, no, at the end they go up, they meet some dragons, and the dragons give them fire, and that's what happens. So, memorable in a specific way. 8.7. That gives us an 8.4, which I think is a very good reflection of a very good episode. That's the Firebending Masters. There they are, Ran and Shaw. Look at them. Who would even try to kill? Who would get the idea to be like,
Yeah.
I'm going to kill one?
Which I do love the designs of these dragons. I mean, I love dragons that, like these are somewhat like Game of Thrones dragons, but they're different. right? Because one thing, they have hair, right? And dragons are more like lizard type animals, and usually, lizard type animals don't have hair. But to me, they seem more mythical having
These
hair
strike me as
because
like
there's
Legend
no,
of Zelda dragons almost. Not from the hair, but that's just what they make me think of.
yeah, yeah. So really enjoy the designs of these dragons. I can't wait to see them in live action. Hopefully they get to it.
I'm not a huge fan of the Game of Thrones dragons. Um,
What? They're great.
they're fine. They're fine. Chris, I look at a lot of dragon stuff. Okay, I've seen a few.
I mean,
No, they're
they're
fun. They're,
probably the
as far
best
as live action,
CGI dragons.
as far as live action goes, they're probably it's hard to argue with that. My favorite
I know Smog
dragon,
is pretty good from.
he is, but I don't. I've never really liked all of like his scenes with the long dialogue scene with him and Bilbo. I always like that kind of ruins him for me. Like you're a dragon, stop bantering.
Stop being so
me.
human. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. You're so boring. Just kill him, would you?
Yeah.
My favorite dragon in all of media, like in terms of looks and the way he acts and behaves and everything, is the Horntail from Harry Potter. He is exactly, in my mind, what a dragon is supposed to be like. He is vicious and wild and overpowering and crazy, and he just looks right. He's got just nasty claws, and he is my favorite.
Is
Absolutely.
that in the books?
What's that? The
Is that
Horntail?
only in the books?
No,
I don't remember
in
in the movie.
It's the challenge where Harry has to like Accio
Oh,
Firebolt,
okay, never
and
mind.
then the
That's my
dragon
least
like
favorite.
chases
That's my
him
least
all
favorite
over.
movie.
To me, that's like that dragon has no reason to hate Harry, but he's just gonna chase him all over. Like he could kill any of those other kids. He's like, no, I'm gonna kill that one right there. I don't know why. That's one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie series. One of my favorite scenes in movies.
My favorite dragon. Favorite dragon is probably the American dragon, Jake Long. I'm kidding. I only say that because I only say that because Dante Bosco voices him as well.
Oh, nice! I didn't know that.
Yeah. And Mae Whitman, the voice of Katara, voices, I forgot her name, but the assassin girl on that show.
No kidding.
And like they get together on that show. So like all Zutara fans, not all, I'm sorry, but Zutara fans are like, see, this was supposed to happen. They were together on American Dragon, Jake Long, but not on Avatar.
And that's not a good rationale whatsoever. That's horrible rationale.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're just joking.
Game of Thrones dragons.
I don't know
fine.
what my favorite. I don't know what my favorite dragon is. I'm trying to.
These dragons really good. Breath of the Wild dragons really good. My first impression of dragons came from the movie Dragon Warrior, of course, or the video game. And in there's kind of two types of dragons. There's like a big lumbering ground-bound kind of dragon, right? And to me, that dragon was always like, you're like the lazy, you're the worthless dragon. But then the big bad at the end of the game is like a tall, upright, scary, super scary dragon. So like my first inclination of what a dragon should look like, usually based a little bit off of that one. That's really tangential. You don't need to know it. You just got to know that I like dragons a whole lot.
My favorite dragon is it's probably the last dragon, Bruce Leroy. Okay, no.
There you go.
Sorry.
There you go.
Okay, I'm done.
Me too. No, that's all I got to say about this. It's a great episode. Go watch it. Whether or not you like dragons or traps, just go watch this episode because there are great action, great Zuko moments.
Oh, Blue Eyes White Dragon. That's a good dragon.
But no, I don't think he looks good. I've always thought he looks stupid. Like why is he wearing a turtleneck?
Well,
why is he wearing a turtleneck?
He's kind of fat.
Yeah,
I think Red Eyes Black Dragon.
The Red Eyes Black Dragon looks
better
way scarier, man. Looks way more dangerous.
But I think just the term, like when Kaiba is like Blue Eyes White Dragon, like that when he says it, it's cool.
I mean, it is. I give you that, but I don't like the name either. Like who describes the color of their eyes, and then he's not a white dragon. He's a mostly blue dragon,
silver,
with also blue eyes. Yeah. He's got. I do like the three-headed one when he polymerizes him into the three-headed one.
Yes,
that one looks way better. Like that's what all that
polymerization.
Space...
No one uses polymerization really in the game. You know how long it takes to get to set up three dragons.
It's easier with later rules. There's other ways to get to fusion creatures. Yeah. But I always thought like, the three-headed one looked cool because that's what all that extra stupid neck space that he had was for. That was going to waste. It was just waiting for two more heads.
Rodon from Godzilla movies is a really good dragon. That's three-headed. I really like that. Maybe that'll be my favorite dragon.
like favorite CGI, especially.
Maybe, yeah. Also, I don't have a hard opinion on dragons. I'll just say that dragon. It's my favorite.
I do have too many hard opinions. I will say that like I just watched the first 2 How to Train Your Dragon movies a couple days ago with my wife because I really like those movies.
Oh.
I really like those movies, but like 90% of the dragons in there I don't care for. Like on one hand you're like, oh, it's cool they got a diversity and stuff. On the other hand, it's like, no, there's a lot of these dragon designs make no like anatomical sense whatsoever, and clearly somebody's just like, listen, we need more types of dragons, just go do it. And like these were not carefully crafted, but I still love those movies, don't take it the wrong way.
Okay, I do like Thunder. You know what, Thunder from the Dragon Prince, that might be my favorite dragon. And I think about it.
All the dragons in the Dragon Prince, which if you're gonna have that in the title of your name, they got a great looking set of dragons.
So that's a case where like diversity in dragons is done really well.
It is very thoughtful, very very intelligently, what am I saying? Like very appropriately crafted. Those are great dragons. Good call out. I also forgot we were gonna make like an Easter segue, or at least I was. I was gonna say something about having the flame reborn in your hands, and that was gonna be my Easter metaphor to tie everything together. But that's it. Happy Easter, everyone. We've been talking for like 10 minutes about nothing. Happy Easter.
I think it's been good dragon conversation.
To me it's not nothing. It's my favorite conversation. It's dragons. But happy Easter, or whatever you celebrate. Happy weekend. Hope you're all doing well and able to stay home. And if you're not able to stay home, thank you for all of the work that you have to do and what you're having to put yourself through. We're very grateful during these crazy times. In the meantime, my name is Shawn Taylor. That's Chris Ford. This is Avatar, The Last Podcasters. And we will see you next week.